Hello everyone and welcome back to the AFL Mix Show presented by the VJ Show. Footy is official back for another season and what a fantastic round one we just had. Oh my goodness. So we saw close games, big wins, huge crowds and plenty of shout out or stand out performances. Today I'll be sharing my round one, that's it, matches, my player of the match from every game and my round two predictions. So let's get straight into it. So you can see these absolute massive rivals. Round one, Thursday night. It's great. Just great to have footy back for another year and all 18 teams, 9 games. So you may have seen over the weekend we had back-to-back MCG games. We have 4 games we're going to be sharing over the weekend. 2 at Marvel, 1 down Geelong, 1 and no games have yet started their season at the Adelaide Oval and the Optus Stadium. So, found out, we start with Thursday night, and you can see the logos. That's it. Richmond and Carlton. Carlton or Richmond MCG. It really doesn't matter. However you want it, it's your choice. So, moving into this crucial game opener as always, and it returns back at the MCG. And what I think it was a good crowd, 74,313. This is the first hand turnout to start the season. This was a very tight contest, and I think Richmond had plenty of opportunities, including their goal kicker, really hurt them. When you have a goal kicker like a key forward, the key poor on a good night of football, it really does hurt. But also Carlton did struggle, but actually they managed to hold on. With the final score on the share, Carlton 10-15-75 to Richmond 9-17-71. So it was basically a minus 1.2 overall. So it was 8 points overall. But overall, Carlton by 4 points. So actually 4 minus from that difference, if that makes sense. If not, doesn't really matter. It's just how, and what it says on the scoreboard. But anyway, so if Richmond did kick straight, they'd probably win this match. And it'll be a very different situation. But well done to Carlton. They gained the win. And like I said, unfortunately, I didn't able to watch this match. But I did say it was one of the not as great games to watch with more points than goals. And when you have games like this, it makes a big difference. Player of the match. Now, before I introduce this player, he worked his butt off. He really worked really hard to earn the spot. Now, I want to let you all know, I may say this, and I'm going to say it again, and that'll be it for this episode, but these are not my vote for the end of the year. These are just my thoughts of player of the game. So here it is. Sam Walsh, the Carlton midfield, including, he finished with 30 disposals, 4 marks, 5 tackles, 6 clearances, 480 metres game with 100 and exactly fancy points. So a crew like he has what he's done through his career and being with Carlton, he's one of Carlton's best, and I think he deserves my player of the game. He may not score goal. He may get some goals, skits or score involvements. I don't have that on your screen, but I think he definitely played, in my opinion, the better player of my game. So, well done to Carlton once again. Richmond heads up. It's not over. All right. Next game, it's going to be quite an interesting thoughts. Here we go. Fantastic performance. All right. Wow. This game is going to be quite interesting. It is the Essendon Hawthorn traditional Friday night. Now, should this be a back-to-back MCG? Could this not be the greatest traditional? This is a good rival, but is it? Because, Essendon are just not in that mix of looking excited. They take on a team that are going to be a little bit better overall, and We do have Friday night footy and we are at the MCG. It is, well, you can see on your screen the huge rival clash. Now, this could be anyone's game. The Bombers and the Hawks go head-to-head, or Essendon and Hawthorn, with another massive crowd of 71,384, a little bit less than the Thursday night, but you get 70,000 out of 105. That's 65-70% accuracy. That's pretty good effort. It's over 50% sold, and I think this was a massive crowd, and you expect expectations for Essendon to bounce back and have a really good year. So, well, I'm going to be going through how Essendon play, and as well Hawthorn was the goal kicker very soon. So, yes, Hawthorn dominated this game. And after quarter time, they run away with a 62-point victory. With that, Essendon came back. They came back, but it wasn't enough. But the only positive added of everything of this game is kicking accuracy. Essendon was the early, but Hawthorn complete took over the game by half-time. So another thing, Essendon had a few momentum goals in their terms that Hawthorn, let that happen. Essendon did fight back in the final quarter, like I meant, several goals, but the result was already decided at basically three-quarter time. A great response by Hawthorn after that opening loss against GWS Giants, and I got to say, it is a desperate response, but you got to be kicking better. And that you want to be kicking more goals than point. It's 50-50, and we'll share the score line in a moment. But overall, how much does Essendon really want to win this game? If they knew Essendon from Hawaii against Hawthorn, knew that was not going to be easy. And, you start really well, and that's all very well, but you can't do it. You got to do it for 4 quarters. And we know that heads up, go to Adelaide Oval, take on Port Adelaide, and, do your best. That's all we can see and do. Be a good game. Now, I didn't get the final score on your screen, but it was a pretty reasonable high scoring for Hawthorn. But like I said, Essendon King 14-5 to 21-19 Hawthorn. So 62 points, wherever that is, that's fine. So I think that before I do get the play of the match, I will get that correct scoreline. It may not be on your screen, but I'm going to share it to you anyway. It's very, very quick. There we go. So Essendon 13-5, 83 to 21-19, 145. So there you go. There you go. So the player of the match, I'm going to give it to, it's Josh Ryan from Hawthorn. The player that dominated, including from his stats, were 26 disposals, 10 marks, 5 tackles, 5 clearances, 406 metres game, 12 score involvement, and 107 AFL fantasy. It's the score from pressure, and if you can get a really good stat, you don't have to have 50 disposals or, double almost in everything. And, even in score involvements, 400 plus AFL fantasy, 100 plus and 20 plus disposals, that's my stacks. My stacks are 4 mark tackles and clearances. You can do 400 plus score involvements, I am unsure to decide, 100 plus AFL fantasy and 20 plus disposals. You can do all that. You're done very well. Well done on a great performance, and it's an outstanding game. All right, on to the next game. So we do continue on to Saturday football, and we got 4 games. That's it for the first time, 2026. We are at Marble Stadium. It's the Dogs and the Giants. That could be a epic clash. Well, a huge win to the Bulldogs. This is not just a win. It's a massive confidence win over Brisbane, and then coming to face the Bulldogs' faith at Marble Stadium, which the final score was 21-8, 134, 7, 11, 53. So 21-8, that is very rare. I could see at Marble, you're going to get that. It is an effort. Know how important this game was for the Giants to go. They had confidence after that win against Hawthorn, and they just could not find an answer. And the Dogs were way too good. An 80-point victory after that heavy loss. The Giants, they went backwards. They basically went reverse. With the Dogs from 5 points to 81 points. That's 86 points in 2 rounds. They are looking very, very good this year. The Dogs, they're looking pretty good effort from there. The Bulldogs have now won 2 games in a row, beating the Rain Premiers back-to-back. Brisbane Lions at the Gather under lights in opening round as well. GWS Giants need to bounce back quick in round 2, and they do. They can't afford to lose 2 heavy losses, and that's a bit embarrassing as well, not just for the coach, but generally the supporters from the favour of the Giants. So, to make it all short, heads up Giants, all the best. Bulldogs, big test to go to Adelaide Oval. It'll be a really good game. I am planning to be going to that game with a friend, so got me a ticket, so I can't not wait to see this. Be good night of football. Adelaide Crows' first home game. We'll be sharing that game, and boy, can't wait. The player of the game, you can't go past the captain, Monk Bonapelli, including 33 disposals, 3 goals, 6 marks, 6 clearances, 677 metres game, 11 score involvements, and those 2 goal assists. This is one saying about a player that he can dominate that midfield. That's how good form he is in. He can dominate against the best midfield, Brisbane, then going to take on a Giants is unsure where. Now they're going to take on an Adelaide Crows midfield is unsure, but boy, it's going to be a very, very interesting battle. Great performer, and that's it. 135 AFL Fantasy. So, domination, great start to the start of Monkus Bonapelli. On to the next game. That's where efforts performance. Next game we have is one, I think it's the game of comebacks of the round. We have the Cats and the Dockers. Geelong, could they be really bouncing back after they embarrassed loss against a absolute favourite of Gold Coast Suns on the Gold Coast? Then we have the Dockers are starting their season 2026. Who is going to be the better team on the night? Well, unfortunately, we'll share that crowd of 27,000, almost 28,000 at GMHBA Stadium. This is what I think one of the best games of the round and one of the best comebacks. You go down to Geelong, you cannot take it lightly. And that's exactly right. Geelong play well. They really did start strong. But Geelong, they got their football. It's called Sexy Geelong. Oh my goodness, I got that loud. But it was the strongest second half. A bounce back win, knowing that Geelong are a good team, you cannot expect to lose. They had their star Jeremy Cameron in 5 King 3 goals. He was close to my player to go actually, but a comeback that I think Adelaide really just knew how important. You believe your crowd. Geelong knew they were going to fight back. That's how good Geelong are. Yes, they didn't have their best players, but they were guard off, and they worked for Gold Coast football. So this is impressive because Geelong were missing their stars like Jeremy Cameron and Tyson Single, and it happened. And before I really get this player Desi bounced back from not as great performance against Gold Coast, and I think that Geelong knew how important this game was. Heads up, Freo, you're at home, you will be tested. Bring your best game. Because I tell you right now, you'll dominate well against Melbourne. Geelong, all the best next round. Here is my player of the match. With his marked tones from Geelong. He include 32 disposals, 7 marked, 8 tackles, 5 clearances, 657 metres game, and 10 score involvements. This is the kind of player, dominate, can win football. In that midfield, he's a young star of the future for Geelong to winning these premierships. This is the Geelong Cats. How they're going to play finals. Is Geelong going to finish top 4 or not in that top 4? It's a really unusual question for me to say this is my second team. Not because they're the Cats because they're brand football. And yeah, they're just, I don't know why, I just think that brings them inside football, but LA Crows are my number one team, 100%, but yeah. Now, 132 AFL Fantasy as well, and a fantastic game performance from the Cat midfield. Well done to Geelong, bouncing back with a 10-point victory. Fremantle all the best next week. On to the next game. Evening football, the first of two back-to-back Saturday night football. How good is this? This is what we've been waiting for, and we have not had this for such a long time. But we do have Saturday night football. We are back at the SCG for the second time for the 2024 Grand Final rematch. 12 months ago, this was Saturday afternoon at the SCG. Now, my opinion is this should be on Brisbane's land, that vice versa, but Sydney are the team to look out. Brisbane, I don't know. This is going to be interesting. Can they keep up with the pressure? It was a 38,000 plus. That's a pretty good effort. And knowing that Sydney are good under lights, they brand that, and that's fantastic. Well, a 44 point over the Premiers. The back-to-back Premiers. Now, I'm not going to say this all the time during the year, but occasionally I will. But this is a wake-up call from Brisbane. They don't have their best midfield, or their best defender, or their best forward. How important this was a win. Now, Brisbane had chances. They had an alright pre-season, but then, unfortunately, lost by 5 points, then come down and get defeated by 44 points. It's quite hard, and I'm hoping to see a bounce back from Brisbane next round. I'm unsure where Brisbane are. They're still going to be a team to beat 2026, but anything can happen from Brisbane. So we'll share the final score: 15-14, 104 defeated, 8-12, 60. That's pretty good accuracy overall, but I think at times that Brisbane could have moments to really get back in the game, but I think the injuries are really hitting at Brisbane now, and that really concerns a team that want to play finals that got to win next round to start their season, or it's going to be a hard fight comeback. So, an interesting stat: since 2023, the year they won a premiership against Collingwood, that Brisbane has started 0-2. So anything can happen from Brisbane. It's quite interesting. Chris Fagan will really get these through, get them together, prove what you need to do, and heads up, season's just started. It's a long season. Sydney will also miss their star Aaron Gordon and Isaac England, making them even more impressive. Now, can they do it without these stars? I think they can. If they're playing, I've been told that they are not playing, but I could be wrong. I could be wrong. They could be playing, they may not. They might understand they're injured, and they were missing between 1 to 2 weeks with more like those soft tissue injuries. Now, just going to keep it all moving smooth. The player game, Riley Wright, included 28 disposals, 6 marks, 4 tackles, 574 metres game, 7 score involvements, and 103 AFL Fantasy. This is a player, a young fella from Sydney, deserving my player of the game. It's not just getting these stats, but really getting to the football. That game, a 500 plus 50 metres game with including 7 score involvements, involves a score involved. That's a pretty good effort. But well done once again, Sydney. All the best against Hawthorn MCG Thursday night. Prepared, because Hawthorn's really going to not take it lightly. We all know that. It's football. And this is a great game from this young star. Alright, on to the next game, which I can't wait to share. Now, we head to the second Saturday night football at the MCG, while the LA 36ers are taking on the Phoenix in the NBL semi-final playoffs game number 2. Unfortunately, the result didn't go to way to the 36ers. Stay tuned for that episode. That's a separate story. Anyway, moving on to this. This game was, I think, one of the best games in history. And I'm going to be sharing that data in just a moment. A 62,482 at the MCG on a Saturday night. Both teams, that's a good crowd. This is why these two should be playing at the G. This is the first game. Adelaide don't play much at the MCG. Besides Geelong, Essendon, Hawthorn and Collingwood, all the Victorian teams, the Western Bulldogs. They all play at the MCG are more than non-Victorian teams. But this is a fantastic. Adelaide won it. Now, how did Adelaide won it? And I will share just a little bit. I won't go too much because I don't want to share like a 10-minute story on this. But this is something that I am wow factored. Collingwood have won the last 12 years close game that Adelaide could won. Adelaide have not defeated Collingwood at the MCG since 2014. Unsure what round, and it really doesn't matter from that. Adelaide, well done. This was not going to be easy. Yes, Collingwood didn't have their captain Darcy Moore. They were missing players. Actual great players for this team. Adelaide wouldn't say mix. They didn't have Dan Turgeon, Mark King. The list just goes on. And there was something that I just enjoyed the win. And Adelaide pressure was up. Same as Collingwood. Now, I watched the first quarter. Adelaide started well. And I think the kicking down the line wasn't working. And it must be very windy in Melbourne on that Saturday night, what I can see on TV. In the lounge room, there's cheerleading, and Adelaide really knew how important this game was. Yes, it's game one, but it's always good to start with a win. And Adelaide, wow. It wasn't just a win, it was a victory. And I'm a very proud Crows supporter. We really did. Riley Filford, Darcy Fogarty, they just bring that. And then our midfields really went on to a new level. And this is really important. And I think I'm really looking forward to this Crows. The Adelaide defence stood up really, really well. 13, 15, 93, 11, 13, 79. Only 14 points. So, there's something that what Adelaide has been doing for a very long time is we've finally done it. Get over and done with. Go to Melbourne, get a big win. And knowing that Collingwood are not going to be the Collingwood we know. And yeah, it's been a long time. Adelaide finally broke the doubt. Win's a win. Move on against the Dogs. They're not going to be easy. When we know that, they're going to be their best. Adelaide led by 36 points. And that's the quarter. Adelaide really, really came out and fought it back. But, Collingwood got to fight back. We knew that in that final quarter, but opportunities really burned for Collingwood and in front of goal. They know, but my goodness, Crows is holding on a strong win, and I would take that any win, any day. We'll share the player of the match. Rain Ma'alira, a player that stood on that defence, including 34 disposals, 6 marks, 673 metres gained, 8 score involvements, 111 AFL fantasy. Excellent performer. This is a professional that he's come out, a career he's done, and Adelaide's done it perfect. Absolutely perfect. Well done, Adelaide. Collingwood, heads up. All the best next week. Alright, on to the next game. It's the first of free Sunday first for 2026 Sunday afternoon football. So, this is it. Now, I do apologise I've not shown round 10. This is round 1. This is round 1. The North Melbourne and Power. And this is interesting. Between these two sides go head to head at Marble Stadium. 23,000 plus. This is the one I'm really shocked. I actually watched this now with a mate. He's a massive supporter. I have respect for that. And this is something that shot me out of the boards. It started well. I have so much shock. They started well. Then North Melbourne, that second half. This is how important games come. 7-11, 1-13, 9-13, 6-7, 67. And wow, that's quite pain. Don't put Joska under pressure. It's his first game. I personally did not see North Melbourne going to play this good. Round 1, that North Melbourne supporters really lift. This is Desi A. Allens and Clarkson's dream to start off with a big win. And I think they're going to look really good this year. I really have a feeling North Melbourne are not going to finish in that bottom. They're going to be out. They've finally done it. They're one step better, and they're looking pretty good this year. This is the biggest win since 2019. A true stat showed what you can do. But this is the biggest win since 2019. They put Adelaide done it the last 6 years up to now. 6-7 years. We know how painful it can be, but how important this win was generally. I can't take too much. Harris Sicily for North Melbourne include 31 disposals, 8 marks, 5 tackles, 5 clearances, 447 metres game, and 118 AFL. That's that team. Well done. Port Adelaide, all the best against Essendon. Their first home game for the season. And I'll just say, North Melbourne, all the best in the Western Australia against West Coast at Optus Stadium. On to the next game. Well, we're back in the final time. We have the mighty, oh my god, this is definitely a team. It's quite interesting. It is Melbourne versus St Kilda MCG. Stephen King's first game as Melbourne coach. How good, and he gets the win. Final score, 19 goals, 21, 120, 15, 17, 107. This is the problem. St Kilda had chances to win this game. And they knew how important. They go to Waiting Western Sydney. They go to ENG. Well, they go to Western Sydney, St Kilda. Melbourne go to Perth. Both on the road next round. And I'm backing up St Kilda next week. We'll share that very soon. Melbourne 50-50. It'll be not an easy go. But have Melbourne got the potential, from me saying 17, a much better season? Now, I think they had a pretty good pre-season. Under Stephen King, I think they had some exciting talent at Melbourne again. They lost some and they gained some. They got 4 more Saints players. And my goodness, this is the team that been really waiting. So, St Kilda had chances, but incredible kicking did hurt them. Same with Richmond. They're kicking a lot more goals than points. Nice day, but yeah, it happens. A strong win for Melbourne. This is interesting to know that it's a massive win at the MCG. And this is exactly what Melbourne wanted to start their season under Stephen King. Far and beyond, making it short and sweet. Jacob Van Ruler, 103 AFL intensity, 6 goals, 14 disposals, 7 marks, 1 goal assist, 9 score involvement. An incredible forward. Can do 9 score involvements and kick 6 goals himself. That's impressive. A great game performer. Final game, here we are, Purple. First day in West Coast Eagles start their season. Gold Coast was still on the Gold Coast at home at People. First day with their traditional against the Eagles. 12 months ago, round 1, 2025, these two met in Perth. This time West Coast went to Gold Coast and it was basically the same result. Nothing continues. Gold Coast continue with their strong start. Yes, only round 1. Nothing changed in that. I can't say too much. West Coast did have opportunities to really make this margin a lot more closer, but just a really heavy loss. Over 10 goals, 59 points, and Gold Coast basically scored over 100 points, overall 115 in 2 weeks, and 2 high scoring margins. But West Coast did got more points and goals and all that over Geelong in the first round, so you're going to have to give West Coast more credit on that. But this is exactly what new recruits, Christmas trucks have been, Gold Coast fans been waiting. Gold Coast fans, get out, support your team. You're going to have a very good season. And everyone may want to be around Gold Coast right now because that's the team that's going to be very, very good. So, before I get to that part of the match, and there were some hard choices overall, I think this is, I don't know where West Coast are. 20 years ago, they were good. 20 years later, they've been rebuilding since that premiership year. And can West Coast bounce back against North Melbourne? They'll be rubbed up. But how much important that West Coast, how much can West Coast keep up the pressure? North Melbourne won't be easy, and this will be a very different North Melbourne outfit. I think West Coast will bounce back. We all know that. And same with Essendon against Port. These are the kind of teams that need to No, they need to do well. All right. The player of the game is no Anderson, including 34 disposals, 1 goal, 4 clearances, 473 metres game, 11 scoring involvements, 106 AFL intensity. A player that can dominate that midfield, a great performer, an excellent performer, an excellent midfield for the Gold Coast Suns. This is going to be a really good Gold Coast, and I think he's in for an absolute beauty of a season. Okie dokie, on to round 2 previews and reviews. Now on to the previews. There you go, you can see on your screen. I've got some key notes I'm going to share. These 2 match are missing some big stars. That's it, Sydney are missing some stars. But they still have plenty of talent, which is true fact. Hawthorn was 16, worth 70,000. I expected this will be the fan, but I could be wrong. How amazing I like it. So the next one I am planning to go to this game. Adelaide's first home game for the season 2026. Adelaide Oval, it's going to be a good game. This could be the game of the round, or one of the interesting game of the round, we can say. But Adelaide by 13. I'm same with Adelaide. I can't go past, but I'm really unsure. Anything can happen. We move on now. I didn't share my crowd predictions, but I'm sticking to about a 45,000 close to a sold out. Richmond and Gold Coast MCG. Gold Coast are looking to continue on their very strong form and season. My predictions is Gold Coast by 45,000 points, and the crowds. We're on to the St Kilda and the Giants. And ENGIE Stadium. GWS Giants will bounce back. I'm just saying that my prediction, but I'm sticking Port Adelaide by 20 points. Now, before we get into the buys, you can see who you can see on your screen. We're going to share that on your screen. So, Fremantle at home in Perth, their first home game for the season. My predictions, Fremantle by 30. Next one is Port Adelaide and Essendon, their first game for the season, and all back-to-back. Well, this is big. Back-to-back Adelaide Oval games, same with Octane first time in history. And I'm backing up. I pick Port Adelaide to 25 points. Essendon will bounce back, and surely they'll do that. Let's go to North Melbourne at the Stadium. Wow. You can see what on your screen. West Coast's first home game. North Melbourne had a mass impressive in 1-1. But my predictions, 40 points to North Melbourne. And you can see the buys, Brisbane, Carlton and Collingwood and Geelong. You might see down the next slide. Oh, there we go. Or even on this side. So you can see them on the left in yellow, but you can see the pictures as well to make it a little bit easier. Easy read. Hopefully you found this quite interesting. Enjoy the week off and we'll see you in round 3. Right, just making this simple. That is completed. Let me down in the comments down below. Did I pick the right teams for round 2? Thanks for watching and listening, and we'll see you in the next video. BJ Cho's out. Bye for now. Alright, peace.